Welcome to the podcast. Today we have nobody. It's just Robbie and I. We haven't done a Tales from the Trails for a while, so here we are.
Here we are.
How you doing, Robbie?
Good. You?
Uh, good. I am a bit sore. I did something crazy yesterday, so my legs are kind of trashed. It's funny that all these ultras that I've ran, all these races, all these like fat ass things that I've done, the events I've done, like going out putting out big days, like man, running on the road freaking sucks.
Well, just running at a faster pace, right? Pounding that
Yeah,
whatever
yeah.
you're on.
So what I did is I just kind of dubbed it the Alaska Double. I don't know if that's an official title. I don't even think it's an official thing. So me and three of my friends and two other friends that drove separately, but three of my friends and myself drove down on Friday night. Drove down to Anchorage about 6.5, 7 hours. Woke up early Saturday morning and ran the Mayor's Marathon. I set a PR.
Nice.
I was not anticipating at all to do that. I had no goals in mind, nothing to, nothing. I had a little workout built into the plan just to get something in, and after the workout, I was feeling really good and was able to negative split the marathon and set about a 40-minute PR.
Now, just think what you
But
could
you
do
know what's
next
funny
time.
about that? Well, yeah, there's not. Well, I'm sure there'll be a next time, but there's not. Yeah, You know what? I felt great, and that's kind of my anticipation going into this is like I didn't want to. I'm not one of those guys that like will burn myself just to get a time. I don't care, but I felt great, so I just kept rocking. Um, yeah, I don't know what to say other than that. I felt good. I was taking Martin gels every 30 minutes, so 100 calories every 30 minutes. I ended up taking about 1,000 calories because I took one before, and I had about 20 minutes left of the race, and I was like, you know what? I don't want to bonk in the last 20 minutes, so I took one there. So yeah, it was about 1,000 calories. I was drinking water at every one of the aid stations. I kind of had this plan that I would walk into the aid station, take a little bit of water, take a quick reset, and then just start running again. 15, 20 seconds max, nothing crazy. And man, just that little bit of time just reset and was able to push, to the next one. Yeah, it was a beautiful day. It started out about 50 degrees. The temperatures did rise quite a bit throughout the race, but it was a lot of shaded running on the coastal trail. So a lot of good wind. And it was great. Yeah. Good marathon. Very well supported. They had at the end of the race, they had a band playing. They had Qdoba's out there. I don't know who they were. Somebody was out there making grilled cheeses for everybody. I was like, man, this is awesome. Free beer at the finish line. So I was
Oh,
like, is this an
geez.
ultra or
Right.
is this a marathon? But
Crossing
yeah, it
it
was
up.
good. Yeah, I know. I was pleasantly surprised at how well I did from just training on trails. Might have done like some weekday runs on the road, a little bit of speed stuff here and there, but nothing, out of the ordinary. And yeah, I was able to throw down. I was really happy. After the marathon, after everyone finished, we got back in the car. We drove back to Fairbanks, 6, 7 hours, whatever it may be. And then at 10 p.m., we started the Midnight Sun Run 10K here in Fairbanks. It was an awesome race. About 3,500 people ran the race. It was a huge crowd. You run through neighborhoods and people are out there partying, like cheering us on. I drank 2 beers along the race. Some guy had something in a bag. He said it was twisted tea. It tasted like tea. I don't know. So he was holding it up, and I came by and took a little swig of it. So I woke up this morning, so I was not poisoned.
Or hallucinating.
But yeah, well, that too. Yeah, maybe I was. I don't know. It was hilarious. So after waking up at 4 a.m. and then driving all the way back, yeah, could have been for sure. But it was really cool because, literally running under the midnight sun, even though it was 10 o'clock. But I think, it was a slog for sure, a walk run type thing. But, it was more about just being out there and having fun with it. It was just such a cool environment. Tons of families came. It was just like, I don't know, it was just a lot of fun. 3,500 people.
That's a
It's
lot.
a huge race for a 10K, but yeah, a blast.
Did you just
But
drive right back from Anchorage to Fairbanks and get out and go, or did you go home first?
yes. No, we didn't have time.
Oh, good. That's what I wanted to
We
hear.
drove straight to the finish line, and then got a ride over to the start, and then
How was the
started
beginning
the
of the
race.
How was the beginning of the race after sitting in a car for that many hours after a
Yeah,
marathon?
so my legs were pretty tight for sure. It took a good mile for the legs to warm up, and they never really warmed up. They were, maybe at the end of the race at 10%, and they started at 2. So
They already worked. They're like, "What are we doing
yeah,
again?"
I mean, they were working. It actually felt better to walk at a faster pace than run. So I would say about half of it we did kind of like a 15-16 minute walk type thing. So yeah,
That's
it was
awesome.
it was kind of hurting to run. So, but we finished it and we had fun with it. It was great. Like, it was cool. It was just such a neat adventure to do. I will not be doing it again, that's for sure. But I will do either one of those races probably again, but not on the same day. That was
Too much.
that was too much.
Yeah.
It was too
Well,
much.
maybe if you don't PR your marathon, it'll be a different story.
Yeah, maybe if I would have held back a little bit, think, oh hey, you still have a 10K and a 7-hour drive.
Why don't you just next time do the double marathon?
Yeah, man, I've always wanted to do that. I've always wanted to start a marathon like the night before and run it in reverse, and then make it to the finish or the finish start line, whatever it may be, and start the marathon the next day. I've always wanted to do that.
Well, I was at the Bear 2014, and a guy was attempting the double bear, and it was it was kind of weird because I mean he got to the starting line. He maybe had an hour to chill after his 100 miles because he started at the finish, then ran to the start because it's a point to point. And this was in 2014. 200s weren't a thing. They were kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But people were just doing these doubles, and I remember watching him take off. Then he had a huge following, and every aid station he would come to, he just looked like total shit. I mean, good reason why.
I would imagine so.
But there was a point where I was pacing, and he was in front of us. I don't know how he was in front of us, but we caught up to him, and there was it was a creek, river, whatever you want to call it, but he's just laying in it. Then we get into the aid station, and he takes his shoes off. And oh my gosh, those things were so messed up. And this was at I guess it'd be like mile 50. So I guess he had 150 miles on him. And the Bears, it's technical in areas, but it's pretty smooth single track. But his feet were just like one big, huge blister.
Wow.
He finished, though.
I mean, I can't imagine. Like, the Bear's not an easy course to begin with, and you're doing it in reverse and then actually running the route.
Yeah. It was cool to watch, especially,
Yeah.
something that, I mean, who
I'd
was
be
it
the
that
guy
did
he would beat, and then it would be like, well, I just got beat by a guy who did a double.
was it Pete Koselnick that did the quad Boston?
Oh yeah, I remember that. How insane.
Where he did Boston 3 times and showed up at the start line, then ran Boston back for 100 miles. A little over 100 miles, I guess.
I've always thought that'd be the coolest thing to do. Just throw a 50 down.
I mean, I guess that's why he's got the record for the across America.
Yeah.
he can hang on the pavement.
Man, I always say it. I have respect for marathoners, man. My legs are trashed. They really are. It's funny because one section of the marathon had like we went through gravel and you would think it was a trail, it was a coastal trail, but the majority of it was paved. But there was this one little gravel section we went through, and you think I'd be all excited for like gravel trail, but I was wearing like I don't know if they're called super shoes, but they're just the marathon shoes or whatever.
Mhm.
And dude, you can feel every little pebble, and I was like, God, this is miserable.
Get me back on the road.
The section that I should want to be on, I was like hurting. I was like, oh my gosh. It honestly was though, because every little step you could feel the little bitty pebbles like beating into your feet, and I was like, man, that. And it was about 4 miles of it,
Oh,
but
and trying to
yeah,
keep pace.
it kind of hurt.
What mile was
Yeah,
that at?
I don't know, man. To be honest with you, I think it was 14, 18, maybe 14 to 18, somewhere around
Oh, so
there.
you're kind of in the pain cave.
Yeah, in the zone. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy. I don't know.
So you mentioned you used some Martin. You didn't use your awesome sauce?
Dude, I have a bag sitting right here of awesome sauces. So I let my friend who was going to run a marathon, he asked me like 3 days before the race. He was like, so what do you do for your nutrition? I was like, are you serious? And so like I had to give him all of my awesome sauces. This was before the debacle came out. Well, I'd say it was while the Reddit team was doing their investigations, but it was before Coop's thing, before the real Springgate came out. But so I have all these. I have a whole bag of them from the feed, and it might be 20 calories. I don't know. Like I got a whole bag of them. Is that like 20 or 30 calories? I don't know. So maybe that whole bag would last an hour or something. Yeah. Dude, speaking of that, did you see like so Spring blocked me on Instagram
They blocked
because
everyone, didn't
of
they?
well, I'm sure everyone that's talked trash to them they've
Yeah.
blocked, but so somebody the Buff Runner actually shares their stories with me and their posts that they put out. So shout out to him for being the true MVP and hooking me up with some Spring drama still. But they put out like that they're they figured out what the problem was and they're going back in. I guess it was the rice or something wasn't cooked correctly or something. But I have a hard time believing that people are going to trust them and continue buying their products after what they did. Who's to say that it was their fault, right? But like,
Right.
I mean, give them the benefit of the doubt. Like the stuff tastes good. I'm not going to deny that. And like, it's
Mhm.
been fun to talk trash about them, but like even if they do fix the product, I'm never going to buy that again because I was taken.
Yeah.
It's like I guarantee you I've spent maybe $1,000+ on Spring products through my ultra running career, and so I was kind of at the forefront of Spring awesome sauce, this and that. I gave it to a lot of my athletes, or I haven't given it to them, but I suggested, hey, use this stuff, and like a lot of my friends, I've put it on them, and so it's like, man, I feel taken not only for myself but people that I've could have potentially harmed out there, eating way less calories than what they probably should have been. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just going to be hard to trust them after that. And I just have a hard time believing that people are going to be like, oh, yeah, well, I know you took me for a fool, but let me go back to you. So,
I followed it pretty good when it first came out, and there's some people that were like, well, I'll just double up on my springs, and it's like, so now you're going to be spending $10 to fuel, and if you're fueling twice an hour with your spring, that's $20 an hour. If you're running a 100-miler, of course you're not going to be doing that the whole time, but that's a lot of money
yeah.
on being brand loyal when they did that. Then another thing that I saw was when spring took off, it kind of took off, then it picked up, and a lot of people that came out and were having like issues, and they couldn't figure out why they were feeling really underfueled in their races, and especially a lot of the 100-milers were coming out and saying, man, like the last 2 years of my training, I've been underfueled and I couldn't figure out why I felt like shit all the time. in for me, looking at it as buying a product to use to fuel you to keep you going in training, then leading up to a race, and you don't know how many calories are in your product, and I'm depending on that, it's like a slap in the face. And some of these people, like you were saying, spent thousands of dollars, and like we always talk about, if something works, use it, right? It's
Yeah.
the amount of money, whatever. It's just part of the hobby and what you want to do. So sometimes you don't even think about the cost of fueling, depending if
Cost has never really been it's never really been a concern of mine. I've never $5 a gel was a lot. Yeah, I understand that. And I will admit I have the privilege to say that I have the money to spend on these products. And so and I know that's that's not a lot of people. I don't use them on a regular basis. I don't use gels normally on a regular basis. I find some gels that work for me. I test gels out and find what works for me, and then I don't buy them again until racing. And so once I come up on racing, then I'll buy a bunch of them, and then that's what I use. And so that's really the only time I've ever used Awesome Sauce. All these gels have expiration dates, so after my race, when I start, going back and doing some runs, I'll throw them in just to make sure the stomach can still handle them and stuff like that. But just to use them up, and but I don't regularly train with gels. I use other stuff, and I think that's important too. Is finding other stuff that works for you, because you're running one product the whole 100 miles. It's not if it falls apart, but when your plan falls apart. What are you going to be able to take in? And so, that's a conversation that I have with myself and a lot of my athletes as well. Is what are you doing? You're using one product. Okay, well, that product is not going to work after 15, 16 hours. What are you going to do then? And so, I don't know where I'm going off this rant, but
no, I agree. You just can't throw all your eggs in one basket. I was listening to Zach Bitter's podcast one time, and he was talking about having an A, B, C, maybe even a D plan with your nutrition, right? Because just as we were talking about, when it goes bad, it's going to go bad. And if you're depending on, just say, Spring Energy as your fuel source the whole time, when you can't take them anymore, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
And he was talking about, having the A plan is your first plan, then always build like a B plan that, you can depend upon when A falls apart. Then if B falls apart, have C. Then if the shit really hits the fan, you have to have a D plan.
Yeah.
And he was really, hitting hard on that D plan, because we all know in the longer distances, once your stomach goes south, a lot of times gels aren't going to go down, and you got to go to real food.
Yep.
And if you haven't tried those real foods in training, and you have to eat something besides what you've been training with, it's just even going to get worse.
Yeah, and that's where I was going with it, is you have to train your gut. And so the best way to do it is to practice training your gut when you're out, running these long hours. It's not only just running the hours, the time on feet, whatever, it'd be a 20-mile run or a 5-hour run, whatever the distance time is, like you should be taking in X amount of grams of carbs an hour, whatever your plan is, or if you go off of calories, whatever that is, you should be training that. I see a lot of people that, excuse me, I see a lot of people that don't really train. They'll eat while they're out, on these training runs, but they don't really practice what they're going to do for race. And then on race day, they're like, all right, I'm going to eat 60 grams of carbs an hour. And I'm like, well, you ate 10 in your training runs. So good luck on that. That's not going to work,
Or you've never ate.
And even myself, like I usually race at a higher grams of carbs than I train at, because it's hard for me to find a lot of stuff that works for me that I can carry on a 4-hour run and get 80 to 100 grams of carbs, right?
Yeah, right.
That's hard to do. Like I can't carry a bag of chips with me, but
right.
But when I'm racing, I say racing, when I'm actually out doing the race, I'm not racing. I'll use gels because they work for me. I like using them. but I supplement those gels with real food as well. Like when I come into my crew stops, I'll have, a cup of noodles or quesadillas, whatever it may be. Aid stations, I always grab stuff at the aid station. So I always have my primary plan, which is stuff that I know works that I carry on me, and then I supplement with the aid stations. And I usually can run between 60 to 100 grams of carbs an hour doing that. I say 60 being the low end of things, through the night when you're not really feeling eating, you kind of lower it a little bit. That's maybe when the 60 comes in. But for the marathon, I was taking 50 grams of carbs an hour, and I was performing extremely well. And so, but yeah,
It'll be
I tested out Precision Nutrition.
Yep.
And dude, those things are amazing. I love them.
They are amazing.
So I got a bunch headed my way for something that I might have to be coming up.
I lost my train of thought. It'd be interesting. There's going to be probably a lot of third-party testing now coming from the spring gate. I know they did Precision, they did Goo, which weirdly Goo came out a little higher. Well, it'll be interesting.
That made it.
right. The warm pancake batter.
It's the warm strawberry banana that just makes me want to throw up every time.
I don't like strawberry banana as it is, so like I was loving the s'mores.
I don't mind strawberry banana, it's not that big of a deal, but like the warm strawberry banana goo.
I was digging the s'mores for a while,
thinking about it.
Then when I was getting them warm, no, I can't do them anymore. No more s'mores.
I'm really into that consistency of the Morton Precision gels. Like,
yeah, I agree.
They have a cool taste to them, but it's not like I don't know. It's hard to explain what the taste is. They say natural taste, but I don't know what natural is when it comes to like that Jello flavor or Jello consistency. And I don't know if that does it for a lot of people, but for me, I don't know how I'll do with it for 30 hours on a 100 miler, but I think that it'll do pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, when I tried the Martin for the first few times, it was it's really easy to swallow, right? Because you can almost put that whole pack in your mouth and just
you
goes
really
down
can.
like Jello.
They're great, man. I freaking love them. Do not get the caffeine one though.
Yeah,
I tried one the other day. It was I got an email from the feed. It was like, hey, we got a new product out. Try it. And it was like you get like 6 or 8 of them for like $15. And I was like, yeah, why not? I'll give them a shot. I'm looking for something new anyway. So I think it's called Santa Madre or something. It tastes like rubbing alcohol.
Ooh.
And with the pack, you got like 4 different flavors. I didn't notice that there was a different flavor other than rubbing alcohol.
Were they all caffeine? Or was it just the whole?
Well, there was like, I think they're a Spanish-based company. I don't know where they're from, but yeah, it was weird because there was like it said like on caffeine and off caffeine, and so it says like on calf, off calf. So like they may all be on caffeine. I don't have a clue, but I can't read the packaging. But yeah, they're terrible, absolutely awful. So I've been choking those down on training runs just to get rid of them. But
training the gut.
Yeah, that's training the gut right there. If you want to fuel on rubbing alcohol, go for it. And I'm not sure how I know what rubbing alcohol tastes like, but it's just it's just the smell that.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say,
smell and like
the smell is gonna be the taste of rubbing alcohol.
Yeah, I know, right?
It's like hand sanitizer.
They're pretty bad. But yeah, I've been trying out a bunch of different things. The Precision, the Mortons always work for me. I like their bars too. The bars are really good. I tried their 320 or 360 water deal. That's good. Yeah, those two companies I really like. And so I think I'm going to be running with those guys from here on out. So
the weird thing about the Martin packet mix, I don't know if you noticed. I mean, it's kind of hard in a soft flask because you got to shake it up pretty good.
Yeah.
But it also kind of turns into that jelly too.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, and it's got a weird flavor if you don't put anything in it. I've been putting like a through element in with it, so it gives it the element flavoring. But
Yeah, the first time I used that powder mix, I was pacing Mike at Wasatch, and I just mixed it up in my soft flask. That was horrible idea. You got to mix it up in something else, shaker or something, like what we do with
nice.
the cluster dection.
Oh
Just
yeah, that
doesn't
stuff, man. That stuff does
just
not
doesn't
mix at
mix.
all unless you have freaking a mixer on hand.
Yeah,
Well, what have you been up to lately, man? Your Strava's been kind of blank lately.
I know. I went out today, went for a hike, and now I posted on Strava, and I got back, and I was just, I clicked on youth and activities to see when my last official run was, and it said May 4th.
Mm,
And I was like, oh, it's been a
it's
while.
almost 2 months.
I know. I was like, holy shit. I knew, but so, I've been working some weird, crazy hours. Then I bought Astro van that I've been converting into like a little adventure van. And that has been taking all my time.
Yeah, man, your pictures are. You've been sending me updates on your pictures, and because for all you guys, I've been talking to Robbie about driving up to Alaska since I've lived in Alaska, and so now that he's got an adventure van, he's turning it into this freaking awesome project. I'm trying to get him to come up here, so that's it. That's
Hopefully,
his transportation.
yeah. So I bought the minivan. It was just a cargo van, 2002, all-wheel drive. It looked like it was just, a work van, whoever owned it. Nothing inside of it. I insulated the floor, the walls. Still got a little bit of ceiling. I put a couch/bed in it, laminate flooring. Then my front differential blew up on it. Partially my
dang.
fault. Partially my fault.
That was when you were out of town too, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was driving to just outside of Gillette, Wyoming, and as soon as I got off the freeway, it cut loose. So I went and bought a donor blazer, cheap, with all the components I needed. Got the front diff changed out, so the front diff's doing good now. Actually, the all-wheel drive actually works, but my big plan is to make it a real four-wheel drive. So I have a transfer case out of that blazer. It's like push button four-wheel drive. Push the button, it goes into four-wheel drive.
Yeah.
But there's a company that makes a kit where you pull that electronic shift off and you put a manual shift on it. Then you hook all the linkage up and it comes through the floor, like old school four-wheel drive.
Yeah.
So it'll be real four-wheel drive, hopefully by the end of this week.
Oh, nice.
I got the transfer case out of the Blazer over the weekend, and I got to order parts to get the new one in. But yeah, it's been taking up my time, then working weird hours, then I get home and usually just go right to the van. So,
Sweet.
but it was really nice to get out today because sometimes you forget, you get so consumed with my personality. Anyways, it's like I put 100% into one thing, as I've done with running. Then my mind went to this van to get the van up and going so I could go take it out, then go do some adventures and do some running. But whatever, it's just been the journey that it's happened. But when I got out today, I was like, oh shit, I missed this. Even though, I was pretty much hiking and was letting the dogs run and hanging out with friends. It was sometimes you need that to get a reminder of why you do shit.
Yeah.
I've been turning wrenches and smashing fingers and all that for, I guess, 2 months now that I totally forgot about running. It's always in the back of my head, but so that's the van build.
Well, that's cool, man. Yeah, like I said, seeing all your pictures on the progress has been really cool. I've always wanted to do that, but I am extremely lazy, and so it would never work out for me. We actually bought an RV.
Oh, you did?
A couple of weeks ago. Yeah, we bought an RV, so I'm pretty excited. That's going to be our adventure vehicle. So I went the cheater way and just just bought an RV.
Well, I went the opposite direction. I sold my RV and bought the van. I had
That's
everything
funny.
in the RV, then I got nothing in the van.
That's awesome. That's awesome. But you know what? You can say that you built that from the ground up, and so literally from the ground up. So
yeah, by the time I trusted to drive up to Alaska, I will be able to say that I built this from the ground up. So
when you trust to come over,
yeah, I'm still in that kind of do I trust it or not? But it's all good. The only way
That's
to
funny.
know is to drive it and find out, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's the only way. I don't know if I would just say that's the only way to come up to Alaska because that's a long haul for a tester.
Well, by the time I'm done with it, I'll know every damn part on that thing. So if something breaks, I'll
That
know how
is
to fix
true.
it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It might be the first or third time that I've already worked on that part. So
That's great.
yeah, no, it's exciting. I'm just.
Well, you got anything? You got anything coming up in the future, or anything planned, or what?
I've
I
still.
know you just said you just got back out today, but
Yeah, I
anything
need
else?
to. I want to go do that. Well, first off, volunteer at the. God, what is the name? That front range.
Front. Yeah, it is something though. I forget. I keep
Yeah.
forgetting.
Anyways, there's a
It's our friends over at Ultraverse supplements. They
that
run
timed event
Hell
they're putting
Creek,
on.
Cowboy. Yeah. Ultra
And,
Days, that's what it's called.
Ultra Days, that's what it's called.
There's Front Range Ultra Days.
Front Range Ultra Days. It's in Loveland, Colorado. It's a little looped course. But what is it? They offer what was it, a 72-hour?
Yeah, I think they have a all the way up to a 72-hour, 100, 200. It's a loop course.
And they designed it pretty cool because you can kind of, except for the 100-miler, I believe that's the only one you can't. Or no, you can choose your start date on the 100-miler.
Yeah, you can, yeah.
Yeah, so they've set it up that you can kind of choose your day when you want to start going, which I think is awesome. I mean, they're already going to be out there. There's already going to be with the 72 hours, so why not give people the option to,
yeah,
if they want to go start the 100-miler and have 72 hours to do it. I think that's awesome. I think that's the way more race directors with these timed events, or even we've talked about this before with the cutoffs, that get people out there and to experience it.
Yeah, no, I think that allowing people the opportunity to go as far as they want with like 72 hours, or if you're running a 72-hour course, why not throw just like come out and run a 100-miler and let people take the time? Like, I don't know, you have all these like elitist and like, oh, 100-miler can only be this, this or that, and it's just like, why? What's the people are still moving 100 miles? Like,
right?
If they take a 2-hour nap in between, what is the big deal? You're still moving your body for 100 miles. What does it matter?
Yeah,
there's another race that came out. I can't for the life of me remember the name of it. It's out in Utah, I think, that that has a 60-hour cutoff, and it's specifically designed to allow people to get a 100-miler. And they have a place to stay, they have a training plan. People are like losing their mind on that. I'm like, what's the big deal? Like, I don't know. It's weird. People are weird.
But we don't like the Iditarod, right? It's point A to point B, whatever distance you choose.
Yeah.
People don't talk shit about that. You know what I mean? They go out, if they choose to do the 1,000 miles on foot. People don't question that, but for some reason, when we get into these other, I guess you'd say the ultra scene with 100 miles, it's like, why put a time limit on something?
I don't know. I mean, you're always going to have your, you're always going to have your big races, Western States, Hard Rock, that, and then all the other races that use for qualifiers, and, your big ones, they're always going to have their cutoffs and their standards, right? And so like that's set. But like, if you have a looped course and someone wants to go out and run 100 miles for their first 100 milers, and they can't meet the time cutoff of, let's say, Bighorn, that's 35 hours. They can't make that cutoff, they don't think. And so they use the 72-hour opportunity to say, hey, I think I can do it in 40 hours. I'm going to go out here and give it a shot. I don't see anything wrong with it.
Either do I.
But I don't know. A lot of people are up in arms about it. But anyway, yeah, I'm excited to see you out there volunteering. I volunteered recently myself. I was the nighttime, even though there was no night, it was still daylight.
It's kind of weird.
Assistant race director, and my wife ran the aid station. I helped out at the aid station as well for the Alaska Endurance Trail Run. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I had a great time. Watching people just like throw miles down is really cool. It's a 6-12 24-hour kind of platform, 6-mile loop, pretty easy course, 400 feet-ish of gain per loop. So I think, some guy broke the course record this year with 109 miles. So yeah, it was really cool to see, a lot of people that I know out there running, and people doing their first X distance or first ultra. It was really cool, and it kind of brought a different perspective for volunteering. And so I was really excited to be able to do it, and then it definitely giving back to the community as well. I feel like all I do is race and not helped out. So I was glad I got the opportunity to do that, and I think you'll feel the same way when you get out there and help out. And you may find that, like, oh, I like doing this more than running. I don't know if I like it more than running, but it was definitely rewarding for sure, seeing people throw down like that.
Yeah, I volunteered a lot of races, and I always get, like you were saying, like, just to be out there to support and help people meet whatever their goal is so rewarding. Because when we're out there, we're expecting them to do that. And I know we've both been at races where whatever volunteers they can get, right?
Yeah.
It is what it is. I'm glad they're there. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
But when you have, and I could use like Quad Rock. At almost every single aid station, there is a bunch of seasoned ultra runners. And they know what we're going through. Quad Rock's not an easy course. Doesn't matter if you're doing the 25 or the 50. That's not an easy course.
Yeah.
But to have someone there just take care of you.
Yeah.
It is. It just it's so nice to give back. Because, like you're saying, we take, but then when you're on the other side of it, there's no pressure for volunteers. I mean, they got to get people in and out of there, but it's like just helping people. Can I fill your water up? What kind of food do you want? Can I make you a sandwich? Whatever it is, it's just, and I've always, when I was helping Mad Moose a lot, they had me doing course sweeping most of the time. If you haven't ran a Mad Moose race, if you get lost on a Mad Moose course, there's something wrong. They put tons of signs up, like, they laminate paper and have the big stakes and stick them in the ground. Well, I would do a lot of the course sweeping. And the way, they would always have it is it'd be in sections, right, that made sense. And there was a few times, well, I course swept Crested Butte for him, the 100K one time. And I had pictures of all the wooden signs that I carried back, and they would always give me their fast pack. Justin would be like, here, just use the fast pack. And it got so full of those wooden sides, I couldn't put any more wooden sides in the fast pack. So I had to carry them in each hand, and I got back, and being the course sweep, if I come up on people, right, they're, at least Mad Moose, they're not super crazy, but I would just have to stay behind them, right? I just have to go at their pace, try to help them motivate or whatever. And that was always such a big deal, just to, help them get to that aid station and send them on their way after, if I was done or kept on going. But it was sometimes that was more fun than actually running the race, because I didn't have to worry about anything besides picking up shit.
I kind of felt the same way. Like, man, the end of the day, the end of the 24 hours, I was like, man, people look terrible. I feel fine.
Yeah, a little sleep deprived, but
Yeah, I was a little tired, but other than that, like, man, I feel all
I've
right.
eaten way too much food. I can't look at another aid station table.
That's great. That's awesome. Sweet, man. Well, it's been fun chatting. We need to do this more often, other
Yeah, we
than
do.
like just interviewing other people. I feel like we don't get to come on here and actually be host for a while. So
Yeah,
um,
yeah. And you guys
it's
tell us what you
cool.
think about these, because we haven't done one maybe since last year.
Oh my gosh, it's been forever since we've done one. So
You know,
if you
leave
want
some
more of
comments.
these, let us know.
Yeah, leave some
let us
comments,
know.
and if you want us more of these, because Justin and I can get on here and talk forever.
Oh
We're
yeah,
coming
we
up on
can,
2
for
years,
sure.
and we've got not all of them, but the podcast
2
nickels are out.
years,
It'll be 2 years in September.
man. It's crazy. Almost 100 episodes too.
Yeah, it's so cool.
It's so crazy. Well, if you like this episode of us just ranting, raving, and talking crap about Spring Energy, leave us a review on your favorite platform, whatever that may be. Drop us a comment on Instagram, whether it be to myself or Robbie or Golden Hour Ventures podcast. Let us know what you think of the podcast. If you want to hear more of these, hit us up. Y'all stay frosty.